Hello. This video is going to be about the ACT exam. So I know many of you are going to be taking it in the September, and several others of you will be taking it during your junior and senior years. So I just like to give a few tips based on what I did to get a good score. I personally got 35. Here are my subsection scores. So the first thing to understand about the ACT is that unlike the SAT, which is a reasoning test, the ACT is an achievement exam. So it's not necessarily measuring aptitude, it's measuring how well you can do. So I guess I'll start off with the subsections. The first section you need to know about is the English section. So knowing English will get you most of the points, but there's some areas that tends to focus on more than others. So what I found to be the most heavily stressed questions, they had to do with modifiers, syntax, comma placement, and just a logical flow. Now, logical flow is just meaning something where your adjectives will become something like progressively more intense. And the comma placement is just usually things like, to put the comma before the word and or after, something like that, not too much. For the math section, if you're using a TI-84 calculator, you will want to update the software. This saved me a lot of time, because what it allows you to do is input fractions. Now, I know I could have normally done it without doing that, but I didn't have to do any work because I could just put it in. And you can also do matrices with. Actually, I don't believe matrices are on there. Never mind. For the math section, you'll want to know algebra, geometry, and trigonometry. And although it isn't necessary, knowing a little bit of pre-calculus will help you, because it'll give you a few shortcuts that you won't necessarily learn in trig. The next section is the reading section. The reading section on the ACT is different from the SAT in that the SAT will never ask you about comprehension. You'll just have to go back, and for the ACT you'll just have to go back, find where the information is, and answer accordingly, which isn't too bad. And if sometimes it'll say the word, it'll say it refers to who, and you'll just need to go back and read what the word it was referring to. You will want to make sure you read carefully, because this section is where your time kind of gets a bit constrained, and towards the end you tend to mess up a little. Section after the reading is the science reasoning section. Now, I found that many people find this difficult just because it's so unexpected. But if you approach it with the right attitude, it will honestly be the easiest section for you. If you have any concept of logical reasoning, and all you really need to be able to do is to read graphs, and that is about it. If you can read graphs and draw conclusions, then you'll be fine. To practice that, I guess just if you read the newspaper, you'll end up practicing most of these. You'll practice your English, right? You'll be able to find where modifiers are, things like that. And then you can derive things from the graphs. You can find conclusions. Now, there isn't any heavy statistics involved, so you don't have to worry about conclusions not necessarily being true or not, because any conclusion you can derive from the science reasoning section will be the correct answer. There is a few times where you'll need to know some outside information, like a little bit of bio and a little bit of physics, but if you don't, it's not too bad. For example, I hadn't taken any physics courses before, and there was a question asking what potential energy would be converted to, and the choices were like kinetic and heat, kinetic and gravitational, things like that. So I chose kinetic and heat just because, I thought about how as you rolled something down a hill it would get hotter, and I know potential energy is converted to kinetic energy. Stuff like that. Now for the writing section, if you choose to take it, Uh, I'd like to say that you don't actually have to write well for that. If you can strongly, I guess, I'm not sure about this, but from my perspective, a strong argument in the eyes of the ACT is just providing enough evidence. So, I remember I got an essay about, should schools not ban people from wearing what kind of t-shirts they want to wear. And all my examples were fake, nothing was actually true. I ended up getting a 12 on the essay because I ended up writing 4 pages in the 40-minute time span they give you. Because that's every section. If you want to review and you're seeking some kind of book, I recommend the Princeton Review Cracking the ACT. I did one practice exam before reviewing, and although the ACT is much easier than the SAT, so not as much preparation will be needed, but it is good to look at a practice test so that you're used to the format and you're not so tripped up when you get to the exam, because the writing section is the English section is a bit different from that of the SAT, because you'll have the questions. It'll be a full story rather than a short 2 sentences or so, and your question will be right next. The line that your question refers to will be right next to it. So that's something to look at. I guess that's really it. Good luck.